Hello, warriors. Welcome to Prophetic Rewind. Today, we're going back to August 20th, 2006, when my dad, Kim Clement, delivered a powerful message about stepping into a new season of multiplication and breakthrough. He taught that God is not calling us to look backward or recreate what was. He is calling us to capture the future, embrace what He is doing now, and step into a greater season of fruitfulness. What may feel barren today can suddenly become fruitful when God speaks over your future. So let's go into the season of multiplication has begun.
You look so good. Thanks for standing with me and praying with me. You know what? The predictability of religion has come to an end. Did anybody hear what I said? We don't want predictability, and as we sang a few weeks ago, predictability is really no good. How many of you know in this building, as we are gathered together, that there has been a word given to us at this time, and it's called multiplication. When you say it to people, they say, "Look, what's the big deal?" In the book of Ecclesiastes, it says, there is a time for subtraction, and there is a time for multiplication. There's a time for death, and there is a time for life. There's a time, come on, you heard it, there's time for war, and there's a time for peace. In other words, there are seasons, and it doesn't matter what you're going through, there's got to be an opposite to your season. I don't care what it is. Suddenly it just comes to you and it presents itself. And so I was thinking about the fact that tonight the Lord spoke a very clear word. He said, and he sort of did it with a little bit of defiance. I am going to reach into this region through the voice of a prophet and prophets, through business, in the marketplace, in the streets, in the prisons, and I'm going to raise people up to become my ministers of righteousness. Yes. We have, listen to me, the church is constantly trying to recapture the past. Always. We want yesterday's revivals. We want yesterday's moves of the Spirit, or movements if you want. And we so desperately try to keep in existence what was once a powerful thing, not realizing that that day is over and there is something greater about to come upon us. Yes, come on. Does anybody believe that? Yes. The church is constantly trying to recapture the past so as to keep yesterday into existence. And I want to tell you something, don't try and keep yesterday in existence. That's right. What is the opposite to that? The fact is, because we are creative. How many of you in this building know that you have something called creativity that's inside of you? I don't take care of you that if you're an administrative type, you have creativity inside of you. And let me make an announcement to you if you don't know this. This place is a delivery room. This is where something is born. How do you know when you're having a baby, it's not easy. There's labor, it's a mess, and you don't tell your wife to be quiet when she's delivering a child. There has to be chaos. There has to be, it's a delivery room. So it is with the prophetic. So it is with God. Whenever we gather together, something that is inside of you has to come into existence. Therefore, the only way you can do it is by capturing the future. Everybody say, I will capture the future. And bring it into existence. I'm going to read something to you tonight before you partake of this great promise, because a lot of people don't realize that the important principle of being preserved by the future. Now, let me explain what I mean. God can preserve you by your future.
Come on.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, most people are not responding because they're saying, what do you mean I can be preserved by the future? Let's call it another word. Let's call it destiny. How many of you know that you are destined to do something and you may not have done it yet? Okay, now we got some honest people in the building. How many of you are dissatisfied with what you've achieved so far? Thank you. And don't get stupid religious on me and say, "And I'm supposed to be satisfied all the time." I am dissatisfied because I know that there's something greater for me yet to do. So I want all the dissatisfied folk to stand up and shout and say, "I'm dissatisfied." Okay, listen up. Now that we've concluded that there's a bunch of dissatisfied people, guess what? You are about to embark upon a journey that's going to take you to the most exciting place you've ever been. When the angel of the Lord visited Gideon, he said to Gideon, "Hail, great warrior, almighty man of valor." Gideon was looking at him as if he was crazy. "What do you mean? We've been in bondage for 7 years. And you would address me." He was not addressing him in his present state of existence. He was not addressing him according to his history. He was addressing him according to his destiny. When Jacob was lying on the earth, a liar who had deceived, God greets him as a great nation and tells him that out of him is going to come a blessing throughout the earth. A nation. Did he speak to Jacob according to his history? Did he speak to Jacob according to his present state of existence? Oh, that's weak. Did he? No. Did he? Okay, there we go. So what does it mean? He spoke to Jacob according to his destiny. He was not speaking to Jacob. He was speaking to Israel. Oh, come on. There is an Israel living in every one of you. And it takes the voice of God to bring it forth. It takes the prophetic for you to realize. You know, I meet people all the time that measure their entire lives by their present circumstances. And can you blame them? Some of them are so bad. So they despise the prophetic because he's smiling when they're miserable. You know why? Because he doesn't live in the now. The prophetic inside of you cannot exist of your present treasure. It can only exist of your future treasure, which is already inside of you. It's waiting to be born. How do you can feel a quickening and you know that something's about to be born? If you understand this simple principle, the veil that is in front of you can be torn because you have inside of you the prophetic ability to see something that you know you can acquire. Gideon looked at the army, at least he looked at the angel and said, "Why do you speak to me like this?" In other words, he was saying to him, "I'm not a mighty man of valor, you crazy." He said, "Where are the miracles of our forefathers?" And he went back in time and compared his present to his past. And the angel said to him, "Go in this might of yours." What might? The might of dissatisfaction. You may be saying, "Well, I've read in the Bible where it says in Ephesians that we're supposed to be satisfied." I tried to be Texan, didn't work. I tried this Texan shirt on, this Mexican shirt. Looks good, doesn't it? Trying to flow. Put in. Anyway, so you say, "Well, the Bible says we must be satisfied in all things." Yes, you must be satisfied with the way God has dealt with you and measured to you. However, there must be a dissatisfaction if the only thing that is excelling in your life is poverty. If the only thing that is excelling in your life is depression, sickness. How many of you know that there could be an acceleration of the exact opposite? Come on, I don't think you're hearing me. Come on. You have the right to be dissatisfied if the only thing that's excelling are bad things. There must be an acceleration of his promise.
Yes, come on.
And a slowing down of poverty, sickness, depression, and all of that kind of stuff. And the only way that that can slow down is if you see correctly. I'm not talking about seeing here, in this life. I'm talking about seeing with insight and foresight. Seeing way beyond your circumstances.
Yes.
You watch people turn in front of me tonight as they were frowning and miserable. They were looking at me as if they're never going to make it. And suddenly God would say something like, the month of May. And this lady starts bowing down and falling. Why? It's called a key. A secret. I tell you, I was frustrated behind the keyboard tonight because I felt the presence of an antagonizing force. I knew that we're going to have to deal with something tonight. And this place is called secrets. Everybody say secrets. The secret simply means that there's an unveiling of the mystery of who you really are. Let's find from God what it is that we've not seen, that we need to see, so we can become what we see.
Amen.
Sight is a very important thing.
Yes.
And so we've heard that there's a promise of multiplication. Some of you in this building are saying, I'm not seeing it happen. I'm not seeing all these beautiful things happen. Are you dissatisfied?
Yes. Yes.
You are now ready for a visitation to be turned into a habitation. In 2 Kings chapter 2, I'll read it to you very quickly. It's the story about Elijah and Elisha. You may be saying, I've heard this so many times, you're going to hear something different in the next few minutes. Because it's happening right now in our earth, on our earth, in the world, where there's a sifting taking place, where we know that there's a season of great blessing coming.
That's right.
And it's only if you see it that you can actually get it and become it. But the story is about Elijah and how he stood, Elisha, how he stood with Elijah as he went from one place to the other. Elijah was going to be taken up by a chariot. And one thing that Elisha wanted, he wanted a double portion of what Elijah had. In other words, he wanted multiplication of every great thing that Elijah did. He wanted multiplied in his life.
Man.
He went right to the end with Elijah, and as Elijah was taken off, he took his mantle. He struck the river Jordan, and he said, where is the God of Elijah? There was a determination for him to see the same miracle that Elijah had seen. Suddenly the waters parted. He went across. Now that's the story, but let me read to you what happened so you can understand where some of you are not going to actually enter in to the multiplication because of holding on to the past.
Come on.
If you don't let it go, you're not going to go.
That's right.
If you don't let it go, you're not going to go into the next phase and the next level of kingdom living. And I'm a kingdom boy. I want kingdom stuff. I don't want religious crap. I don't want the same old repetition. I want every meeting to be filled with exciting things. People jumping out of their chairs saying, hey, I just got something. Something just happened to me. I want these meetings to be where you walk in and you say, my God, something spiritual is happening. I cannot tell you what it is. I cannot put it down on paper. I cannot explain it. Maybe I should just speak in other tongues and I'll start telling you that I know something is happening that's never happened before.
If this message is speaking to you today, I want to invite you to respond. Your support helps us continue restoring and sharing these prophetic messages with people all around the world. These words are not just history. They are guiding us through the season we are living in right now. And your giving also helps us preserve the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault, so these prophetic words remain available for this generation and the next. Even a simple $5 in-your-face offering is a powerful step of faith. And if you are not yet a Vault partner, I encourage you to join us. Our partners help keep this prophetic legacy alive and gain access to deeper teaching and exclusive content inside the Vault. So thank you for standing with us. Now, let's get back into the message.
You know what? We are so well trained to be religious that we cannot accept. So every time we get together, I'm going to say to God, shake them up. Do whatever you want. Whatever you feel like doing. But one thing that's going to happen is the veil that blinds us from our future will be rent. It will be rent in this place. Please do not hold on to the past. Please don't look at history and say, I want the same thing to happen, because it's never going to be the same. Now I'll read it to you quickly. So Elisha arrives with the double portion. He arrives with his multiplied vision, power, gifting, miracles. It's him that's got it. But they don't like what he looks like. He's bald, first of all. Not anything against bald people, but he doesn't look like a prophet. Because some of the youth called him Baldy, remember? If you don't know the story, they called him Baldy, and he got some bears to eat them up. This is what happened. The sons of the prophets knew that Elisha was with Elijah. They heard that he had been taken away, so they said these words. They said, look now. They said, the spirit of Elijah rests on Elisha. They said it, but they didn't believe it because they didn't see it in the natural. And they came to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. So they're doing the right stuff. Then they said to him, look now, there are 50 strong men with your servants. Please let them go and search for Elijah. Maybe the Spirit of the Lord has taken him up and cast him upon some mountain or in some valley. And he said, and Elisha said, you shall not send anybody. Why do you want to go back to the past? Why do you want to hold on to something that has been removed? Does anybody in this building realize that the charismatic movement was great, but it's been the charismatic re-movement? The word of faith, it was powerful, it was necessary. But it's been removed because it's been deposited into the lives of millions of people. You cannot have a revisitation of yesterday's glory because it's gone. It's over. Some of you are getting it. But what we do is we try and capture the past to keep it in existence instead of recapturing the past to bring it in existence instead of capturing the future to bring it into existence.
Yes, come on.
So they beg Elijah, please let's go and look for Elijah. We want Elijah back. He looks good. He did great things in the mountain. Remember what he did with the prophets of Baal. Remember these things he did. We want him back. He said, you shall not send anyone. But when they urged him, he was ashamed. And he said, send them, send them. Therefore they sent 50 men, and they searched for 3 days, but did not find them. And here's verse 19. I'll read it to you, and then I'm going to let you decide. Here it is. Then the men of the city said to Elisha, when they realized that they couldn't recapture the past and bring it back, and that Elijah was gone, they then said to Elisha, please notice the situation of this city. Once they had let go of the past, they suddenly tapped in and released the double portion into the earth. And it's only when they let go of yesterday that were they able to take a hold of the double portion or the multiplication that had been set in front of them, but they did not recognize it. Where is it? Do not look behind you. It's simple, but listen. Once they understood this is what they said to Elisha. They said, please notice the situation of the city. It is pleasant. The city is situated pleasantly. However, we have a problem. The water is bad and the ground is barren. Do you know how many churches look good? Do you know how many lives look good? They well situated, they well proportioned, but the water is bad and the ground is barren. Oh, some of you are catching what I'm saying. And they needed a prophetic voice to ignore how the situation looked from the outside and prophesy to the water to bring sweetness from it. I want to tell you something. There are grand churches all over this nation and all over the world. They're well situated, they're prosperous, they look good, but the water is bad and the ground is barren. And I want to tell you something. The prophetic voice is about to arise to make the water sweet and cause the ground to bring forth as never before. Are you ready? Because that's what the Spirit of multiplication is about to do in your family, in your business, in your lives, in every part of your life. Come on, give yourself a voice. In other words, it all looks good. But now the Spirit of multiplication, which is on us, is going to do something internal. So Elijah says these words. He says, hey, I'm going to tell you what you got to do. He says, bring me a new bowl. Not an old bowl, a new bowl. I want something new, a new method, a new form. I don't want anything old. Bring me a new bowl. And bring me some salt. And he took the salt and placed it in the bowl and went to the source of the water and cast in the salt there and said, thus says the Lord, I have purified this water. From now onwards there shall be no more death and no more barrenness.
Amen.
I would like to conclude tonight to tell you that God is sweetening the waters. God is causing your soil and your ground to be no longer barren, but to be fruitful. Is there a businessman in this building that is waiting for the waters to become sweet so that the ground can become fruitful? If you want to get rid of barrenness, stand up and shout to God, because God's going to give it to you tonight. Come on. Lord, tonight I pray for every person that has come into this place. Some of them look good on the outside, but inside they're barren. They have nothing. Spiritually barren, some of you. You're listening to my voice, you're saying, what in God's name is he talking about? You know what's happened? You become so spiritually barren, you don't hear God anymore. Because you don't want to. But yet you've been hurt by religion. You know what religion is? It's repetition. It's the same old, same old, same old. There are a number of people in this building that have gone spiritually barren. And suddenly you heard something tonight. You saw lives falling down and you forgot. You forgot about the prisoner. You forgot about the person that has a greater need than you because you've been so hurt yourself. You forgot about it. You forgot about the fact that there is a God that doesn't really care what you think. He'll move however he likes. You've forgotten that there was a day that you prayed and you didn't have nothing and God gave it to you. Something went wrong because someone did something that hurt you. Spiritually barren. God can change it in a moment. With a little bit of salt. You know what salt stands for? Grace.
Yes.
Grace. There is an overabundance of grace. Favor. I want every person in this building to close your eyes just for a minute. See, because, we just saw a demonstration of God. But every person in this building, close your eyes and listen to me for a minute. I want you to listen, not to me, but to the voice that is pulling at you right now. Saying, I want to take away the barrenness and give you back fruitfulness. I'm not just talking about in your womb or your business. I'm talking in your spiritual life, because it all starts there. Say, Kim, I want to come alive again. I want to come alive to Christ again. That's all you want. There's no formula for it. It's simply this. If you would like to be free, and you want your heart to be right with God, and you want to come back to the place where you are sweet, your spirit is sweet again, and there's no more barrenness, you'd like me to pray for you. I'm not going to call you forward. Now I want you in your seat. You say, Kim, I want the Jesus that you're talking about, that I felt tonight back. I want to be spiritually alive. If you want me to pray for you, I want you to lift your hand right now. Look how many people there are. See, that's what it's all about, people. You can lie about it. You can say, I don't really believe. Or you can say, you know what? I'm one of those people. It's up to you. I want every person that has their hand raised, I want you to say these words with me. And I want you to pray it from your heart. If you didn't raise your hand, it's fine. But I want you to say this prayer with me. I truly believe that tonight, something remarkable can happen. Everything could change for my life. I want to give back to you, God, the dearest thing that I have. It's my heart. It's been hurt. It's been torn. But I know that I can trust you with this very precious thing. So I give it to you. It's my treasure. Take it. And I accept your favor, your grace, your forgiveness in my life. From this moment onwards, everything will change because of you. Thank you. And you give him a hand if you pray that prayer. Don't you give him? Shout, because it's a victorious moment. You just feel great now. Let me feel free. Look at somebody and say, I feel and know that I'm completely free. No more barrenness. Say it loud. No more barrenness. Only sweetness. Try to remember that in the car next time. How many of you want the promise of multiplication? Everyone that's going to say, I will multiply. And you heard the Lord saying this is a season of multiplication. Okay, if you heard that, I want you to do me a favor. We're building this place. We've got the chairs, we've got the stage, we've got this beautiful grand piano. How many of you like this? We have a sound system that we are looking at purchasing. It's probably going to be about $200,000 or $300,000, so that you can have good ears and not plugs in them. We're doing renovations that are coming up shortly, so we can get permanently in here. And then we have all types of seminars and things that are going to be fantastic. But right now, we need some financial miracles. And I know there's a lot of you in this building that are saying, I want to sow into this because of what I saw, what I felt, what I know is about to happen. But the greatest of all is there's a promise of multiplication. And how many of you know that it takes your giving to bring about a promise? Okay, I want you to pray with me right now. Every person, pray with me. And I want you to pray a prayer with me, and then you're going to prepare your gift. And whatever he tells you to do now, remember I said to you, you're going to hear. You will never ever hear me saying, and I promise this to you, And God told me so many people have so much money to give because he's quite capable of telling you himself. I want you to pray with me, and then every person say this prayer, and then we're going to receive from you to place into God's hand and work your gift. Pray this prayer with me. Lord, I receive your precious promise of multiplication in my life. I receive your promise, sweet water, no more barrenness. I want you to show me what I should give tonight. And whatever you tell me to do, I'm going to do it. Allow me to hear clearly. Now close your eyes and listen for a minute. Now, Lord, I'm praying that you would speak to every person in this building and that you would put into their heart and show them what they should give. Now, some of you are going to be challenged because when God speaks, usually he takes your faith and shakes it because it pleases him. Usually he tells you to do something not in your present state of existence, but in your future, how he wants to bless you. You're not going to give according to your now, but you're according to your then. Now you just pray. Now, Lord, I release upon every person your voice and what they should do. Now, everybody, please listen for a minute.
Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside.